Hello and welcome to Paper Terrace. If you're new, I'm Jessica. Today we're going to take this cereal box and create a very shabby chic journal similar to this. This is my prototype journal, and we're going to have removable signatures, and we're going to get right into it. I am using a couple journal kits that I have, just bits and pieces of, to use with this journal. And these are from Madeline Diet's Etsy shop. I'll have a link below. I'm just going to combine a few because I have several that I'm wanting to use up. And so we're going to get started with the basic construction of the journal. And this is really simple to get started, but I basically start by just kind of breaking down the box, not all the way, but I am going to cut off like this whole spine piece. We're going to cut it down so it's essentially the bones and structure of our journal. I have it cut down now, and it's about 9.5 inches, and then each cover is about 6.5 inches. So I think you can see how I cut that down. And the spine is about 2 3/4 inch. Okay, so I'm going to use this as the cover. I have some fabrics that are a bit see-through, and so I would rather just work with this first. And I have just the prettiest variety of some quilted fabrics and vintage sheets, and I am wanting to go for kind of a quilted look. So I think I am going to get started by covering majority of it in this sheet fabric. I'm deciding. Or we are probably going to cover up a lot of it, so maybe we'll go with this one, actually, if this is enough. Yep, it is. And I'm not going to worry about the wrinkles in this one because I am going to be doing tons of sewing and kind of adding bits and pieces everywhere. So I will just get started though by adding glue everywhere. And I'm using Tombow Mono Aqua Glue. And I am using the refill, and I have it in a Sugar Bell bottle, just in case you are curious. Now, I would be a little bit more cautious if I were only using a vintage sheet to cover this, just because I have been getting bubbles and I don't like it. But since we're doing tons of sewing and placing different fabrics, I'm not worried at all because a lot of areas are going to be covered. But I am going to smooth out the glue. I'll take the time to do the extra little details when I think it's actually going to make a difference. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just place this down. And I will kind of smooth it out the best I can. This is such a cute fabric. Okay, and then we will add glue to this side. And all of the pages in this are, there's going to be a variety of pages, but they are going to be blank. All right. Yeah, I have been doing a ton of no-sew journals, so if for some reason, maybe if this is the first video you've come across, or you're watching this and you're like, oh, I don't have a sewing machine, or I'm intimidated to sew, or I don't want to sew, I have tons of no-sew journal tutorials on my channel, recent and from a long time ago, so you should be able to find one of those. Okay. Take a little bit of time just to smooth this out the best I can. fabric is pretty easy to smooth out. So we'll just do that. If you have time to wait for dry time in between, go ahead and do that. Then we can go ahead and trim. I really probably shouldn't have put this just in the center. I could have saved a lot of the fabric, but that's okay. I am going to now go around the corners and I'm just going to trim at an angle and then take off any excess before I wrap it around. And I'll probably just go like this and then rip it. So I'll continue that around. I'm just adding glue all the way around the outer edge. And then I will wrap this around, and this is gonna give us nice finished edges so you don't see that book or the cardboard. Try to wrap it really nice and tight around the edges also. There we go. So we got our first layer down, but like I said, we're gonna be basically patchworking on all kinds of pretty little pieces. So I am basically just going to get started. I'll probably grab some laces out of my stash too, but I'm gonna kind of just get started. I don't have an exact idea for what I want to do. This might be cute. This was actually just on the package itself. Oh, and there is some lace in here as well. Ooh. And some fun fabric here. I want there to be like different shapes and sizes all along the book. Maybe a little bit smaller. So this is the most time-consuming part because I'm just going to be playing around until I have something that I am happy with. Maybe on the spine, that could be cute. Yep. And I'm not going to glue anything down yet either, just not yet at least. But we will be taking it to the sewing machine once I have everything where I want it. Maybe this can go across here like that. Yeah, that would be cute. Oh, actually, maybe I'll have a big piece of this go down the center. And then like that. But I liked this up here, so we'll put that back. So I'm just going to play around like this for a bit, and then when we do go to the sewing machine, I will bring you along. So I think I'm pretty happy with something like this. I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and the idea I have for the back is I really want it to look like you just took some patches and kind of patched up some pieces of, you know, a fabric. I'm not really sure. So I'm also going to add some little charms, beads, and buttons, but I'll do that afterwards. So I'm going to go take this to the sewing machine, and I will essentially just be sewing around each and every little piece on here. I'm just going to start out with a straight stitch, and I'm going to attempt to sew all the way around the border, and I'll go pretty slow. So I probably won't film all of the process, but I'll show you each little step at least. Just being careful that nothing gets moved around too much. And then anytime I have like a new fabric that's a little bit thicker, I'll have to lift the foot and just make sure that's placed underneath. Then I'm gonna just start going around each like individual fabric the best that I can. I think we'll start with this bigger one right here. And I may switch to a zigzag stitch every so often, or maybe like a fun design stitch. As I'm finishing, I am just making sure that every piece of fabric is sewed down so that nothing can come loose. And then I think while I'm here at the sewing machine, I'm also going to take some pink lace and make 2 tie closures. So I am actually just going to sew these to like the inside cover, and we will end up covering those on the inside, but for now I'll just kind of decide where I want them and sew them on. And for a closure, I'll go back and forth a few times. We have lots of strings to trim, but first I'm gonna go see if I want to add any buttons or charms. I have a few already picked out. Just thinking this one might look fun. I also have some metal corners. I'm gonna put all of like the metal things on now. This is a really pretty like shabby chic button that I was thinking of. So maybe a couple down in the corner. Oh, and I have this darling little heart. So maybe just those, although it's kind of fun to have different little things on the section. Okay, I like that a lot. So we're going to just go ahead and start. We'll sew these on by hand. So I am going to get a needle. Always got to make sure that your needle head will fit through your buttonholes. Okay, that should work. So I'm going to thread this and start sewing these on. And we can add the charms and like any little safety pins next. All right, we'll thread the needle. I always add a little glue on the buttons as well. And I apologize, my fingers and hands are all inked up and glued up, and it looks really pretty disgusting. Okay, so I'm just simply gonna poke a hole where I want to go from the inside. Oh, I wish I had more of these heart buttons. Okay, so some of these I'm just gonna sew kind of off camera, not doing anything special, but I need to bring it closer to my face, so I'll show you once I have the buttons on. I have my buttons sewn on, and now I am going to, I'm hoping I can put a metal book corner up here. I'm just gonna go ahead and trim some of this lace. And I'll just add a little glue. Actually, you know what? The metal book corners, I forget. They should go on after we cover the inside. But we can go ahead and put a metal ring on the side here. And I am just going to punch a hole like that. And just try to get that through. And then flatten these out. Ooh, you know what I didn't think about, guys? We're gonna be putting eyelets. Oh my, well that's okay. We're gonna keep the mistakes in, that's okay. Because it's not really that big of a mistake. It just wasted our time. Yep, we're putting eyelets, that's right, okay. Let's finish off adding just a couple more little bulb pins. These are just fun. And there's a little bell. So we will hang a little bell on just for some extra fun. Okay, we will put this down here. Yeah. I can always move this around later if I don't like it. There we go. A good time to trim anything that you want. I don't worry about too much of the inside because we're going to be gluing paper down on top of it anyways, but any of the super long ones I will. And now is also a good time to get your crocodile out. We're going to be placing down our eyelets on the spine, and that's also going to help us decide on what size our pages should be, because you will want your pages to be a little shorter than the length between your eyelets, which I'll show you what I mean when we get there. But I'm just making sure to say these things out loud so I don't forget. Okay. It's probably good for now, and I'll trim anything else later. Okay, I have a piece of cardstock. I'm probably going to decorate the insides covers, but for now I'm just going to put some pretty basic cardstock down just so we can get started. And I'm wrapping around this center ribbon as well, so that will get kind of sandwiched in between the cardstock and the base of the journal. So I have this piece that will go down, and it's just a little less wide than the spine. And then take another piece, and this is about 6 inches by 9.5. And I'm really not worried about, so there's some, you can see some of the inside of the cereal box, but we will cover that up at some point, probably with some lace or fabric. And then we will glue this one on, and then we can go add the metal book corners on. Whoa. Man down. All right. You know what? I decided I'm going to disguise the inside of the box now because I know me and I'm not going to want to come back to it later. So I'm just lifting this up and using some scrap fabric so that we will have a very pretty inside. And luckily this glue hadn't dried yet. Not all the way, at least. There we go. Yeah, that looks so much better. I think I trimmed all of the threads that I want. I don't always trim them all, but I don't want it too messy. I go back and forth on my preference with that anyways. Now we can go ahead and put the metal book corners on. I just use some pliers. I love these scalloped book corners. I think they look so cute with this shabby chic style. And I just close them with my pliers here. And one at the bottom. Okay. So now you can decide how many signatures you want. I'm actually just gonna see how many signatures I can fit, or sorry, how many eyelets I can fit across, and that's how many signatures I will have. I wanna fill this up as much as I can. So I take my crocodile and I'm gonna keep it as close to the edge as I can, but you don't wanna go too far to the top because your eyelet needs a little bit of space. And so probably go like that to get started, and then I'm just gonna punch holes all the way across. My crocodile is not the best, so sometimes I have to go in with scissors to cut the rest of the fabric off, but I'm just gonna continue this all the way across, and I'm trying to evenly space them as best I can. You wanna leave a little bit of space in between, of course. So I fit 6 across, did my best to evenly space them. And now I am just going to place some eyelets in different colors all the way across. Let's see. Just mix up the colors for fun. So I'm going to go ahead and just set these, and then we will put our eyelets down on the bottom as well. Okay, so everything's dry now, and we have the eyelets on the bottom, as close to the bottom as I could get them, and then as close to the top as I could get them. So we have 6 on the bottom, 6 on the bottom, 6 on top, which means we're going to have 6 removable signatures. So I wanted to just quickly show you this because I used to always mess this up. When you are measuring to see what size of pages you will be putting into your journal, I always measure after I make the cover for this type of journal. So typically you could measure from, the top of the journal to the bottom, which is 9.5, if you can see that. But because we have the eyelets, you're actually going to want to make sure that your pages will only fit in between the eyelets. Otherwise, the ribbon or trim that you use will be rubbing on the pages and it will wear pretty bad over time. So for instance, I would say that 8.25, if you can see that, is probably good. So that's even a little bit shorter between the two distances. So funny enough, I cut my pages down to be the height of my journal because I always mess this up. So I'm stressing to you, don't be like me, but that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and just trim all mine down to 8.25, and I already have my signatures ready. So I'll show you that next step in a moment. Now we have 6 signatures that will fit perfectly. And so I am going to actually be stringing through some strips of muslin, and you can use any kind of trim or ribbon or waxed linen thread that you would like. And I will say that elastic is a great option so that you can have adjustable signatures. So I am going to just start by stringing these in. Now I'm going to tie mine on the outside, but feel free to do this on the inside if you don't like the way that these might not be long enough. If you don't like the way that the ties look, I just think it's kind of a fun look for this type of a journal. So I'm going to tie it, and you really don't have to have too much, what am I trying to say? My words, guys, they're not coming to me. You don't have to have too much extra space tied, and I'll show you why. Okay, once we get this tied, yeah, I'm gonna need extra. See, I pretty much tied it as tight as I could, and you will be able to take your signature. I'm not even going to sew these together. You can if you'd like, but I want this journal to be extremely adjustable since I'm selling it as like a prototype or a journal full of ideas journal. I want you to be able to move things around very easily. And I used these super fun pages from a book that have really cool images all kinds of really, there's just so many cool, interesting things on these book pages, and it's a really nice heavy duty paper. It's also matte. There are a few that are actually a little bit more glossy, but anyway, so that's what I used in my own, and I think they're so cool. But this is a great paper if you want to cover it up as well, and you can use it just as a base, but I think it adds some interest. So I'm gonna go ahead and just continue tying these on and putting the signatures in. I'll show you when it's all done. I'm so happy with how this journal turned out. So again, here we go. And remember, if you don't like the ties on the outside, you can absolutely tie them on the inside. I just think it kind of helps with that shabby chic kind of vibe. Here's the cover. Love all of the different buttons and little clips. And then the back. Exactly what I was going for. I just wanted it to look all patched up. This feels so nice in the hands, and then you have these cute little metal book corners and then the lace closures. So there are a ton of pages in here, and because they are not decorated at all, there is so much space, so you can really fill this up. In fact, let me show you mine that I have put so much into, and I made mine just the same way. But you can see how it's actually really starting to fill out. And I still have like 2 more signatures. So I will have plenty of space in my own to fill it up. So, as I was saying, you can really fit a ton into these type of journals. I was getting interrupted by my 5-year-old, and that is a little preview of what's going to happen when I'm working during the summer with my kids home. But anyways, so yeah, I just absolutely love the pages in here. Now, a lot of these pages are extra long, so instead of cutting it off, even though I wanted to keep everything blank and not add pockets, I did go ahead and fold one of the pages in. So the recipient can either glue this on the top and bottom and have a little side tuck, or it can be cut off and you'll just be left with a blank page. And obviously it's not blank as in the images. And now my daughter is riding her bike inside the house and just going along with that. But I hope that you guys enjoyed it, seeing how to make yourself one of these prototype journals. And that's about it for today's video. If you're interested in this journal and if it's still available, it will be on my website. So that's it. I'll see you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye. If you're actually still here, if you are interested in one of these journals and this one is sold, I will have these available on my website in pre-order fashion, which essentially means that it's kind of made to order, and it will be titled a pre-order patchwork prototype journal. And if you're not familiar with how my pre-orders work, it's going to be about up to a 2-week wait time for me to create one. It's going to be this very similar style, but it's not going to be, this exact cover, obviously. It's going to have the same colors and same types of fabrics. And it is going to have the 6 signatures inside. Each signature has 4 pages and then folded. So you have around 100 pages front and back. The insides will also be blank. And then I will include some things on the side for you. So that's what the pre-order journals are all about. That's it. I gotta go. My daughter's in here, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye. You want to say bye?
Bye. I love you.
Oh.